Okay, I'm going to go into the teenage years now. So we're looking at about 13, junior high. This is a stage where, kids are really looking to be somebody. They're looking to be part of an in group. And I still was off to myself pretty much, I'd say. I got bullied still a little bit until about 6th, 7th, 8th grade, somewhere in there. And that's when things started to change for me. I started to get a little more aggressive. I started taking all that hurt, because when I got bullied, I wasn't like a normal kid. It was hurt. It wasn't anger. It was not understanding. It was more hurt feeling, sadness that they were doing this to me. And I was such a loving kid that couldn't get mad at people. I wanted to forgive them, and I had such a low self-image of myself that I felt that probably pretty much deserved it. Pretty much took it upon myself that I was doing something wrong, which of course now I understand I wasn't. These were just cowards and punks is all they were. But at any rate, I started gaining some size. I was about, 5'10". I cropped out to be about 6'1", sizable man. But I started learning how to channel that anger, and I started not realizing exactly where all the anger was coming from. I didn't have a great home life. I got tired of all this kind of stuff, and I really stopped caring. And then I got to where I started knocking some of these guys out, and I started seeing this as being the answer. I started seeing an instant respect coming. Well, I carried that on to about 10th grade to high school, and by that time it was 1990, and the gang craze had been going pretty strong. And I came from a family that promoted stupidity of like mafia being a big deal, saying JFK was killed by the mafia, and I mean hitmen and stuff looked like they were gods. I mean, they were a bunch of retard rednecks, okay, and total idiots, making everything promoted. And people that's been to prison, they just promoted all that stuff. I remember getting a game called King of Chicago on Amiga computer at the time, and actually fantasizing about being one of these people. And I really started getting my fantasy more toward destruction at that time, and how to build myself into being a man. And the gangster lifestyle really was taking off at that time. As you know, California had a big wet rappers and stuff like that, and I grew up in the Bay Area. And it wasn't really my style of gangster, but criminal lifestyle was being promoted pretty heavy. I had a family who promoted it, and I started dabbling in that a little bit. Well, what I ended up doing was I got in a little bit of trouble, and that little bit of trouble snowballed into something else. And I kind of got a reputation after a while. I started knowing people from all over the Bay Area, major cities. And I started getting a rough reputation. I mean, the cops came to my house. I was living with my parents at the time, looking for automatic weapons, things like that. I was moving up the ranks. I'm not going to get into what's true and what's not. I don't mind getting into what I was convicted of, but even though most everything's past the statute of limitations, I don't really want to get into it, because one thing I want anybody to know that's out there that knows me from my prior lifestyle, there's one thing I'm not, is I'll never turn the coat and I'll never say anything. So if you can ask me questions all you want, I'm not going to get into it. I lived a criminal lifestyle. I'll get into that in this video. So I got into a little bit of trouble. Well, then I started messing with a certain fairly powerful gang. Wasn't quite a member of them, but I knew a lot of them. And my reputation got more and more stronger, and it fed my ego. And my ego was very much fed by this now. Now all I was focused on was being this person, because I'd finally found my answer. I took this feminine person that was a total introvert and totally unpowerful, into a person that's empowered now, to a person that's feared and respected. Well, I started drinking heavily, and I started basically just hanging a hoodlum lifestyle here. And by age 18, I caught an assault with a deadly weapon case, which a shotgun was involved and somebody was shot. This is something I'm not really proud of. I ended up going to prison over it. It was a self-defense kind of situation, in my opinion, and it was, as much as it was promoted to be like a gangster thing, it wasn't. It was family members and close neighbors that were like family members as being. I grew up in a middle-class neighborhood, and they were being threatened by some scumbags that moved in, and they were drug dealers. And the guy that owned the house, his mother had died, and he was a loser. He couldn't get a job, so he moved a bunch of druggies in. He didn't care about having a job. And they were pretty much terrorizing this neighborhood. So it went on for months, and finally, one night when I wasn't there, they pulled baseball bats and a knife on women. They were threatening them. The cops came. They didn't do anything. Next day I showed up. The father came out the door and said, "You're a dead motherfucker to me." He mistaked me for, I guess he was high. He mistaked me for this woman I knew, her son. And I said, "Oh yeah," and I went home, grabbed my shotgun, I took it over, pretty much threatened him, and somebody ended up getting shot. There was about 6 of them there. They were looking for trouble. So you really don't have to feel too sorry for them, because they were a pack of scum and have a severe record to this day. Not saying I'm a great person. But by this stupid action, I got prison time. Okay, basically they said, "We know the guys are scum, but you went home and got a shotgun when you could have went and called the police. Being young and stupid, I didn't do that." So I ended up going to the notorious San Quentin prison. Well, we all know what San Quentin is. So I'm in Gangsterville now. Now I've got my real stripes. Now I'm even wondering, am I even tough enough to be here? Which I probably wasn't, but I faked my way through it pretty good. Knew I had to fight, knew I had to do certain things. And I went to Susanville. To give you a recap, I'd been to juvenile hall, county jail, California youth authorities, and San Quentin and Susanville, all before the age of 19, okay? Or not before, at the age of 19. I remember getting out in Susanville at age 20, and I wasn't even old enough to gamble yet, and I'd already had all this under my belt. So I was fairly well respected in prison. People knew I stood up for myself. A lot of the older veteran convicts liked me. I did pretty much in that lifestyle what you see a lot of transsexual people do. I excelled. I seen it as my way out, and I put all my energy and focus in to take my mind off of my other troubles. And believe me, those troubles were there. The night before I just surrendered myself to prison because I was out on bail, I took all my panties and stuff like that and I hid them, and I said, "Okay, I'm done with this." I went to prison, and I didn't have a whole lot of the desire to change over in there because I was too busy trying to survive, let alone worry about being a woman. But I can tell you occasions in San Quentin when I saw some transsexuals out in the open, and they really fucked with my mind because I knew that's what I wanted to be, and I knew that's who I was, but I wasn't about to tell anybody that. I knew I cross-dressed and everything like that. So I get out of prison, and when I get out of prison, I'm a whole new man now. Man, I say loosely. Now I'm respected as hell, you know. Now I've got the prison under my belt, and I'm well connected, and I got some really strong connections when I was in there. So I get out, and I think I found the answer. I'm powerful now. I'm no longer the victim. I'm the people look up to. I used to use the term, you know how people always sit there when you got these wannabes in the circles where they always say, "Hey, I know this person, I know that person," and they try to inflate themselves to be really tough and really crazy and strong. I'd always say, "You're the guy who says that stuff all the time. I know this person, I know that person." I'm the guy you're talking about. I'm one of the people you know. I'm one of the people that are actually scary. And I built on this lifestyle and built myself into a total gangster at some point, okay? By 25, I was driving a black-on-black Cadillac, brand new, and I was the whole network. I mean, I got really dark and evil. I took all that hate and channeled it. So that's pretty much up to age. Well, I went to 25. I jumped a little, but I'm gonna get to in my next video coming out of prison and where I took it from there. So that's where I built myself as a man. Remember, this whole time I was envying women. I was miserable inside. Women were like kryptonite to me. They destroyed me. I wanted to be a girl more than anything, but I was destroying myself in the process of crafting this man. And this man, now remember, this man served as something special here. This man served as somebody who was strong. And the motto of a gangster, suck it up, cupcake. Come on, you can take it. You can take it. You can take it. Suck it up. Be tough. Shut up. Just suck it up and take it. It's all about extreme alpha male. And I conditioned myself and brainwashed myself into doing that. I punished myself. I tortured myself. I lived drinking, drugs, ego, whatever. I built myself to feel like I was some kind of god. Like transsexualism, nothing can touch me. You'll find this in criminals. It's an arrogance in them. That they think that they're untouchable and they're godly. And that's what I had done. But I knew there was a whole darker side. And I'll get into some of the gangster stuff later. But I'll give you a prequel to give you a laugh. I remember being out there, and it was a .45 pistol I had. And I remember going out. I was going to go do some work. I'm not going to get into the work I was doing. I'm not going to give you the age. I'm not going to give you any details. But I was going to go do something. And I took a gun for protection. Here I am, dressed in some really nice jeans, really nice button-down shirt, really nice shoes on, really nice watch, hair all slicked back like a gangster, my dark sunglasses on, and here I am. I got a pair of bright pink panties on from Victoria's Secret nonetheless, and I've got a .45 pistol stuck in my panties. And I'm standing there talking to a group of gangsters while I've got fucking panty lines, I bet, showing. I mean, it's ridiculous. The duality is like, to go and wear panties to a gangster meeting. And just everything, think, if I go to jail and they drop my pants and they see these panties, oh my God, when I'm going into intake, all the time knowing that I'm living a lie, knowing it, and still doing it. Panties on while I'm out in the middle of some of the hardest cities. Like I said, I'm not going to get into details. I'm in the Bay Area. There's San Francisco, Oakland, San Jose, Richmond, all types of crazy cities. I'm not going to tell you which ones. But I'm going to tell you I was in cities, major crime areas, with panties on, sometimes stockings underneath. Wearing stockings. I put socks over my stockings. I'd have thigh-high stockings on and panties, just so I could feel that feminine feel. Because I needed that feminine touch. All the time miserable. Girls crawling on me, jealous as hell, stripper clubs, jealous as hell, hated it. Wanted to be those girls. I'd be mean to them. Oh God, I hate them. I get so mad. Here's this fine girl, and here I am stuck with these being an ugly ass man. Oh, and they were just all over me like I wanted to. It drove me nuts. But I had to pretend like I liked him. But I was a mean man, so I pretended like I wasn't very nice. So that's where I'm going to stop on this video. Thank you, and I'll get into the next one. That'll be more into the gangster life.